What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, and it is my birthday. Oh man, he ain't what he used to be. He ain't what he used to be. He ain't what he used to be. I'm actually wearing my Casanova College t-shirt I got when I actually attended that school, and probably when I should have started doing all of this. Let's see, that's 17 years ago. Granted, this wasn't really a big popular option back then, but still, I am doing a simple reaction because I didn't feel like thinking of anything. And we are doing 11 times WWE has wasted white hot stars, which kind of just goes along with my last video. What's my last video? Double check. Yeah, I don't check this stuff. I don't plan ahead. Yeah, 5 wrestlers who should leave now that Vince is back in charge. This kind of probably was brought up by Cody Rhodes not beating Roman. That is enough said. Let's throw on the fancy headphones and let's go.
Boy, I wonder what prompted this topic to land on my desk. WWE really had a hard time making new top stars after that John Cena fellow took off, and a lot of that comes from the company's inability to capitalize on a ready-made star falling in their lap, a problem the company seems to still be suffering from.
Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, just name 2.
We may be all of 9 days removed from WrestleMania 39 and the shocking non-coronation of Cody Rhodes, but it is safe to say that the decision and the subsequent sale of WWE paired with the confirmation of Vince McMahon's return haven't filled fans with much hope for Cody's future. But
yeah, this is the man who gave Cody Rhodes' father a silly gimmick, more or less because he started his own promotion, the NWA, which is back. I think I'm right with that. And helped write for WCW. So, and then when he came to WWE, he's like, yeah, no, we are not giving you something good.
Cody isn't the only one who has felt the moderate heat of WWE's back burner. PFK fans, raise your arms and give me your strength. I'm going to try and get through this one without losing my will.
Is that a Spirit Bomb reference? If so, well done.
To live as a wrestling fan. Peaceful thoughts. I'm Tempest, hailing from...
Yeah, that's what I thought his name was, Tempest. Canadian that moved to the UK.
Parts fun known.
Kind of a lateral move, in my opinion.
And these are 11 times WWE wasted white hot stars. But before we get on with this list, make sure, of course, that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a fun list. Just
do the thing. I haven't said that in a while. You can do that here, too, but yeah.
Like it, and make sure you check out the 2 new episodes of 7 Damien Mizdow in 2015.
Oh my god, that was so over. Like, this is one of those moments where, like, if they actually pulled the trigger, AEW may not happen.
I was recently asked on our Patreon mailbag show, subscribe at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, what small wrestling decision still bothers me, and I would still be hard-pressed to find a different answer than Damien Mizdow not defeating The Miz for the right to become The Miz. No one can possibly tell me that Damien Mizdow wouldn't have taken that gimmick further than The Miz has the last 8 years. Maybe Mizdow would have actually brought prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship. After becoming the, at the time, biggest loser in Money in the Bank history, Damien Sandow took on a second career as The Miz's stunt double, which got over more than anyone could have hoped, including WWE themselves.
Oh yeah, that was a kind of a punishment that he knocked out of the park.
Damien Mizdow became the best comedy act WWE had in many a year, and WWE just...
R-Truth is still up there.
Couldn't have that, killing off the duo at WrestleMania 31 after months of teased splits. Mizdow was the runner-up in the Andre Battle Royal and then got beat by The Miz, ending the feud and the hottest period of Mizdow's career. Number 10, Rusev in 2017.
Yeah, Rusev Day. Probably why he's actually in AEW.
Would you look at that? It's Rusev Day. What was it that Vince McMahon said about the fans' love of Rusev Day? They were chanting it to mock him? Christ almighty. Peaceful thoughts, peaceful thoughts.
You're so over. It's only because they're making fun of you.
This was right in the thick of when it seemed as if WWE would punish stars for getting over on their own accord.
Also had something to the fact that they were trying to sell that him and Lana were having relationship issues and broke up. And then in real life, they got engaged and posted on the internet.
If you weren't told to do it, you better not do it, no matter how loud the people are cheering for you. Rusev was one of WWE's funniest wrestlers, giving us such gems as Handsome Rusev, TV Champion Rusev, and of course, Rusev Day, the holiest of days, celebrated each and every day.
Also got Aiden English over, which I've been watching old Up Up Down Downs. The dude just talks funny, in my opinion. Like, I know it's like you shouldn't make fun of people with like accents, but yeah, he sounds like you're like almost. He almost sounds like you're trying to parody a British accent.
The act of Rusev and Aiden English worked better than you would expect and caught fire at Clash of Champions 2017, where the lovely lads challenged for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. WWE don't seem to call audibles very often, but they would have been more than justified had they pulled the trigger on Aiden and Rusev given this incredible response.
Oh, and the New Day probably would have secretly loved it behind the scenes.
It's the SmackDown tag titles, it wouldn't have mattered. Instead, WWE seemed inclined to remove the Stone of Shame from Rusev's neck and instead attach the Stone of Triumph, having him get pinned by Jinder Mahal at WrestleMania 34, get betrayed by Aiden in a storyline.
God, that guy is pale. I thought I was, like, pale.
And that went nowhere, and then turn heel by WrestleMania 35. Happy Rusev Day indeed. Number 9, Cesaro in 2014. Oh,
Like, I know this is a controversial statement, kind of, but Cesaro could honestly be the best actual wrestler in this generation. Like, skill-wise, like, he could be this era's not Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Unfortunately, he does not get pushed like he was Bret Hart. He kind of is now in ROH, but
to travel back to early 2014 when Cesaro had only been on the main roster for 2 years, and he was having excellent matches with Sami Zayn in NXT until it was time to split from Jack Swagger at WrestleMania 30. A time where there was still hope. And at WrestleMania 30, what a moment he had. Cesaro won the inaugural Andre the Giant Royal Memorial Battle
yeah, Swiss Superman
Memorial, back when there was also hope for that stipulation in one of the biggest highlights of a pretty darn decent WrestleMania, and people were excited. And then the very next day, WWE cut the knees out from under the babyface run of Cesaro precisely 24 hours in. The very next night on Raw, WWE took a prospective new top babyface star and put him with Paul Heyman. Now, Cesaro and Paul Heyman sounds like a winning pair, but the problem then became WWE never actually followed through with Cesaro's ascent to the main event scene.
Also, Cesaro's a pretty good talker in his own right. Like, you usually put Cesaro with someone who's not. You usually put Paul Heyman with someone who can't get themselves over talking wise, i.e. Brock Lesnar.
Cesaro never so much sniffed a pay-per-view main event until 2021, when he was also quite hot, albeit with no crowd, but even in this case, Cesaro got beat and slipped back down the card.
And then left, and is now having great success in ROH/AEW.
Number 8, Asuka in 2018.
You just call it Asuka's career. She was part of the video. My video.
We continue to get into, booking babyfaces has never been WWE's forte. It has been too complicated much of the time, with the company too often relying on beating their heroes like a dusty rug at spring cleaning, resulting in those stars losing their shine like Rey Mysterio in 2006, Sami Zayn in 2016, or Bayley in 2017. Now, how do you fix that problem? Surely a babyface with a huge undefeated streak takes that problem right out of your hands. Asuka arrived on the main roster at TLC 2017, and immediately the vibes were just off compared to her run in NXT. She still won a bunch of matches, but no longer was she an unstoppable force, instead selling for folks like Emma and Nia Jax when she had been killing them in NXT.
Yeah, when you're called the Empress tomorrow and ask people if they're ready, she should have been a buzzsaw.
But it's just
Hey, Japanese buzzsaw. Sorry, that joke's too easy.
A little less over. It's still good. She won the Royal Rumble, really the only finish that made sense given the occasion, and all signs pointed to Asuka beating Charlotte at WrestleMania 34 until that very much didn't happen. But she's just a little less undefeated. It's still good. But then rather than having that distinction elevate Charlotte, she lost to Carmella twice in a row, and to really hit the point home, Asuka then lost to Carmella twice in a row as well. But she's just a little... Oh, it's gone. I know.
Corner boo.
Ad. Boo. Boo. But it's the one I can skip, so I'm not going to edit out the ad.
Number
Also, Bud Light, which I care less.
7.
I don't care about alcohol, but, go woke, go broke.
Dolph Ziggler in 2013.
Oh, you can put, comma this year. Dolph gets red hot, and then I don't think Vince likes the former male cheerleader.
Dolph, it should have been me, Ziggler. At one point, it really should have been you. At a few points, really. The biggest of which, of course, has to be the once greatest Money in the Bank cash-in ever in 2013, where Mr. Ziggles won the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and Big E was his back, his muscle, and AJ was just, I forget her role in that part, but she was part of that group.
On the Raw after WrestleMania. The moment that had been built up to for 9 months and paid off perfectly, seemingly ready to launch Dolph into the main event scene, and then Dolph got a concussion. Now granted, that is out of WWE's control. What wasn't out of their control, however, was WWE playing this off as comedy, with Dolph forgetting that he had cashed in and then losing to notable prick Alberto Del Rio in his first title defense at Payback.
Yeah. Concussion protocol. Making fun of it. Chris Benoit, and you guys, yeah.
It was Vince's thought that giving Dolph the title was merely the right thing to do for that moment, but he had no intention of giving Dolph the accompanying push. Seems dumb to me, but what's dumber is getting another chance to give Dolph the rub a year later with a fantastic performance at the 2014 Survivor Series, and rather than following that up with any sort of big moment for Dolph, they brought the authority back and fired Dolph in kayfabe a month after his triumph. It should have been you, Dolph. It should have been you. Number 6, Zack Ryder in 2011.
Oh, the first man to truly get himself over on the internet. And because that got punished.
Woo, woo, woo. You blew it, bro. Before Matt Cardona was the self-anointed king of the indies, Zack Ryder
Kind of earned that title too.
was the internet fans' champion. Quite literally, in fact. Look at him with his internet championship. At the start of 2011, Zack Ryder was comfortably the bottom of the WWE roster totem pole. Ryder then took to YouTube and Twitter with his show Z True Long Island Story, which got steadily more and more popular until fans campaigned for him to be featured regularly on TV. He actually did the thing WWE always calls for their stars to do: get themselves over, make their own opportunities, and grab the brass ring. Except they don't actually want that.
No. Vince is a control freak.
That is a lie. Ryder managed to win the United States title at TLC 2011, but lost it in short order before being the biggest victim of John Cena's asshole nature, stealing Zack's girlfriend and then striking him while Zack was getting pushed off stages in wheelchairs.
Yeah, that's WWE saying, yeah, way to get yourself over. Never again.
Not exactly the main event push WWE fans were clamoring for. The magic was gone for Ryder after this, as he went back to being routinely beaten into powder by the actual stars that WWE were interested in promoting. Number 5, The Nexus in 2010. Lord
Talk about a wasted opportunity.
above, John Cena does not come out of this list looking good, does he? Yeah, it turns out that when WWE was looking to waste one of their white-hot stars, feeding them to John Cena was their go-to move. In the case of The Nexus, their debut was the high point of Raw in 2010, giving WWE their big summertime angle. Wade Barrett and his band of merry men were due for a major win.
Not a single one of them is still left in the WWE.
At SummerSlam, but John Cena quite literally said, "That doesn't work for me, brother." The Nexus went from being the biggest invading force WWE had had since The Invasion to John Cena's verbal punching bags in one night. Cena beat them decisively at SummerSlam and then went on Raw the next night, calling them names, comparing them to fast food mascots, and he may as well have looked right down the lens of the camera and told WWE fans never to take these men seriously
Well, you shouldn't take Ryback seriously.
again. And really, they didn't. The Nexus storyline went down as one of the biggest missed opportunities in the company's history, and it didn't have to be this way. They could have just beaten Cena at SummerSlam. Like, why was that so hard? Number 4, The Fiend in 2019.
Just Bray Wyatt throughout his career.
For the first match of a new character, you can't ask for a much better showing than The Fiend's match with Finn Balor at SummerSlam 2019.
Sorry, old age, dying. I was more fan of cult leader Bray.
I would know. I was there. The Fiend's invincibility worked perfectly into this one-sided debut match, and a strong win and bone-chilling entrance combined for a great introduction for a new and intriguing top star on Raw.
Oh, how great would that storyline have been if he beats Finn. Finn gets pissed, the Demon comes out, but the Demon and the Fiend actually get along and they're a team.
And
that, yeah, I just came with that off the top of my head. That could have been a much better storyline than this crap.
then WWE decided to immediately book him in a Universal title match that they didn't want him to win. Why did they do this? Well, I can't tell you because I don't know.
Also, no one really saw that match because, red lighting made it hard to see.
This was WWE in 2019 after all, not the time in which they were making their smartest decisions. Hell in a Cell 2019 was the site of maybe the worst main event in WWE history, effectively killing off the runs of Seth Rollins, The Fiend, the Hell in a Cell stipulation, and pretty much all interest in the main event scene of Raw.
That match ended in a DQ. Yeah.
A terrible feud with The Miz and a speedy loss to Goldberg did not help matters for all Fiendy Pops, but it further proved that WWE really didn't have a plan for their new top star after the first night.
Experts at Shore and
Boo. Ads. Yay, Sure Medical, but boo ads.
Number 3, Daniel Bryan in 2018. How is it
Also probably why he's in AEW.
possible that WWE took a returning Daniel Bryan, the biggest potential babyface star they could ever ask for in 2018, fresh off a 2-year retirement, and put him in a months-long feud with Big Cass? Daniel Bryan being able to wrestle again was a dream come few for wrestling fans of all walks of life, and it
I still miss after him and Miz got into that argument. Like, they could easily have booked it where Daniel Bryan, picked Shinsuke Nakamura and be like, oh, you wrestle a safe, soft style, the king of soft style. Well, here's the king of strong style. And just had Nakamura just beat the crap out of Miz. And it would have made Nakamura like that.
It would have required great restraint not to simply put him in the main event of WrestleMania 34 and win the Universal title immediately, but hot dog, did they ever go in the opposite direction. Instead, Bryan teamed up with Shane McMahon in the second best McMahon tag match of the night to face Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. On paper, a good pairing, but the match started with an attack from the heels, taking Bryan out of the match until the finish and taking the air out of the building. But again, one match to ease Bryan back in, understandable. Why they then chose Big Bill to be Bryan's next feud, I will never know.
You also had in, everybody wanted him to, win, the WrestleMania, and then next you know, it's he didn't even appear in it.
Bryan's momentum continued to slow throughout the year with an underwhelming feud with The Miz before only reaching the top of the card again by turning heel. The biggest possible babyface, forced to turn heel in order to be booked well. For shame, WWE. Number 2, CM Punk in 2011.
CM Punk's starting to realize it's not the company. It might actually be CM Punk.
Now, I know there will be people who will be quick to say that CM Punk got a 434-day title reign out of his 2011, and you would be right. However, it is impossible to look at the Summer of Punk circa 2011 as the success that it should have been. After the all-time classic Money in the Bank main event that saw CM Punk hightail it out of Chicago with the WWE Championship in hand, he was the biggest deal WWE had in a very long while.
Yeah, it was. You made your anti-Cena.
And then WWE followed that up by closing out their next 4 straight pay-per-views with CM Punk having been pinned and beaten. By the time he won the WWE Championship back at Survivor Series, the uptick in interest caused by CM Punk's pipe bomb and subsequent title win had all but depleted. It was supposed to be the Summer of Punk. Instead, it was about the 3 weeks of Punk before WWE's terrible booking tendencies reared their ugly heads. Seriously, what part of that Money in the Bank program screamed, "This needs more Kevin Nash" to y'all? Baffling stuff, but not as baffling as number 1, Cody Rhodes.
Yep. You could also have done Kofi too. But
In 2023. Now, I will preface this one by saying that there is still time for Cody Rhodes to be saved following his WrestleMania 39 loss to Roman Reigns.
I really don't see it. That was the right time. You could have easily had him with a good run till about SummerSlam. Maybe it's Roman again who takes it off him, but no, you can't.
However, boy, was that ever the right time to pull the trigger. I watched the closing sequence of Owens hitting the stunner, Sammy hitting the haluva kick, and Cody hitting the bionic elbow and crossroads, and you can argue about adversity all you want, but I don't know that you will ever find a more perfect ending to the Roman Reigns run of dominance than that moment. Cody Rhodes was white hot, peaking at the perfect moment, and WWE elected not to pull the trigger after all. There is still every chance that it could pay off in the long run.
Yeah, for AEW.
But given that Roman isn't scheduled to work Backlash, it really does sort of feel like stat padding at this point in an attempt to get him to 1,000 days as champion. A stat that didn't need to be padded at the sacrifice of the story being told. Cody may stay as over as he had been. Hell, Sammy got a big moment for himself at WrestleMania after everything was said and done, but the main event
Yeah, but it's tag titles, which they'll probably drop in like 2 weeks.
of WrestleMania 30
They shouldn't, but they probably will.
39, as of this moment, does unfortunately feel like one of the biggest wastes of a white-hot star in WWE history. And that's our list.
Yeah, like you could easily have, like I said, Cody wins there. He decides that he doesn't want to carry 2 belts around, and he shouldn't, and he brings back his favorite title, which is the Eagle WWE Championship. Just saying, like, we don't need 2 top guys. We just need 1. Unify those belts. Have Kevin and Sammy do the same thing with the tag team. And it would have been great, but no. Roman. Roman's gotten better. But Roman hasn't defended the title clean in 3 years or however long he's been champion. But that is it. I am plausibly streaming tonight on Kick. Same name as all the others. But that's it. That's all I got. I'll see you weird people later.